Dear people of Ambazonia, my fellow brave warriors of our liberation movement, accept greetings from me, Comrade John Akuro, this day. Today is Tuesday, and the date of today is September 26, 2023. My people, I'm coming here today so that we should have a conversation, a very important conversation around why we are in this liberation movement. I know we've had time a lot to talk about why we are in this liberation movement, but I want to take some peripheral reasons. I actually call them peripheral. Peripheral because they may not seem to be at the center of exactly why we are fighting, but there are practical reasons that should make some among us, some of our people, who by day and by night fall into the trap of La République du Cameroon to end up as what they call black legs and all of those things, so that they try to see exactly why we really have to fight. They need to understand why we are fighting. They need to see why we need to fight all the way to the end. And when they join hands with the enemy to fight against us, they think that they are fighting against us, but they are fighting against themselves, fighting against their children, fighting against their own brothers and sisters, fighting against their own future and the future of their children, grandchildren, and generations upon generations of Southern Cameroonians to come. That's why I generally, or I've often shared this thought by US President Joe Biden, who says we cannot fight against ourselves if we have to beat them. Now, if you sit and you tell yourself that no, the reasons they are talking about, fighting are too intellectual, turn around, oh, in 1961, we were, first of all, me when I was born, I was just born into a union already. It's a kind of existing structure with La République du Cameroon and all of those things. And so this means that I am not concerned with this fight that they are fighting because I don't know what had happened before. But at least I know that I've seen what was here, and then they have promised me that they can fix it. I'm saying this because I exchange with a lot of people, the old, the young, the learned, and those who haven't gone to school. And sometimes even those who generally don't care about whatever happens to who and where and how. And so, therefore, it dawned on me that there are still some people in our community that haven't understood that this fight is even about just what we experience on a daily basis. That's our daily lives. These are things we all need to know. And so I want to take a few minutes, it will be just a few minutes, to get our people see just about three small reasons why we need to fight, why you need to be part of this liberation movement. Look, my dear brothers and sisters of the Southern Cameroons, my dear comrades of Ambazonia, I want to make this clear to each and every one of us. Some people in life fear change because they don't know what is lying ahead. They feel comfortable with the little crumbs they're already getting, and they have that conviction that it is better than what they haven't seen. And one message I want to share here today, therefore, is that if around the world people operated in that manner, the world would never have advanced. Those who transformed this world and are continuing to transform it into what we see today are people who were full of adventure, who kept believing in a future they haven't seen or they hadn't seen, who kept believing in a better world that existed just in their minds, who kept believing in better transportation systems that existed only in their minds. Before the people created an airplane that could make a journey between the United States of America, thousands upon thousands of miles, and Lagos happen in less than 24 hours of a direct flight, it had to be in their minds first. If they feared what it would look like, they would be comfortable with the ships that they were already getting into and taking weeks or even months to get to such destinations. So in southern Cameroon, in Ambazonia, when we're talking about getting a better life, it's because we know we deserve better than what we are having. It's because we know where we are now is nothing compared to hell, because this is worse than hell. That's why somebody joked that if you are from Cameroon and you happen to die, or you find yourself at the gates of heaven where there's judgment, there is no reason why they should be asking you whether you want to go to hell or heaven, because you already lived your hell on earth. Look at, I was barely getting into the studio to begin this live show when this message got to me, and it was in the form of breaking news. A policeman has just shot a lady at her shop on her leg after spending some time resting in the shop at hospital roundabout Bamenda. So the policeman spent time with the lady in her shop, rested in her shop, had conversations with her, definitely did have quite some fun and everything, got entertained by her, perhaps, and other people who were at the shop. And at the end of the day, he thanked her. At the end of the day, he thanked her by doing what? By opening fire on her leg. Right now, as I'm talking, the picture is right here. The bullet took her on the knee. The picture is right here, but it's not pleasant. I don't want to share it. Of course, if I haven't shared this video, it's going to be blocked. You'll not be able to watch it. We're already facing a lot of threats and fighting from La République du Cameroon who does not be able to come to the air. So I don't want to give them an opportunity to say that they have something to hang on. So they say this lady is called Sheila Praise, that she is a musician. So they say she's presently in the theater at the Bamenda Regional Hospital. Although some have advanced thesis that, oh, he pressed the trigger by error and all of those things. Listen, folks, we know them. They have generally used us for their sport. Those that are still learning, are still being trained, still being taught how to shoot, are brought to our land. And they learn how to shoot in real time on our people because they consider us subhumans. This is exactly what I'm talking about. But now let's get into the practicality of what I'm really trying to talk about here. Today is September 26th. It's Tuesday. Just before I came into this studio, I was watching CNN. And I watched the president of the United States of America, the most powerful man in the world, Joe Biden, go to Michigan and join striking workers who were demanding better conditions. He joined them. If you were in our sector, you're hearing that, oh, the ministers are imposing on the business owners to this or that. This is a labor economy where there's freedom and everything. The president of the United States can only do as much, can only join the workers to protest, to tell their employers, no, you can't continue to have fat profits at the expense of those who are putting in the labor. They deserve better. But back where we are struggling to raise ourselves free from, I'll soon show you exactly how they respond to such situations. President Joe Biden did not say, oh, because there are elections coming next year, 2024, some people have caused the union workers of the auto sector to go on strike so that they should muddy the waters for him to destroy his chances of re-election and all of those things. He has not said some people have manipulated them because he believes that these are human beings with their full capacities. These are either intellectuals, technicians, or whatever, who know what they are experiencing. And he understands their conditions because he's listened to them, because he's taken time to understand what they are complaining about. But this is a contrast with where we happen to be unevenly yoked in with La République du Cameroon. Let me give you a simple example. I'll be doing a lot of turning of heads because I have some little technical issues here and I'm grappling with them. Now take a look at this. This is a situation where teachers in the French-speaking a country called La République du Cameroun. Teachers in La République du Cameroun are on strike. And this is the response of the Minister of Labour. He says, rendons hommage à tous les fonctionnaires qui font tant de sacrifices pour notre pays et qui travaillent parfois dans des conditions très difficiles. It begins well. That let's pay homage to all the civil servants who are sacrificing a lot and sometimes working in very hard conditions to get the country going. And then he begins. Dénonçons tous ceux qui instrumentalisent les enseignants et les élèves en ce moment dans le mouvement de revendication auquel le gouvernement s'attelle à apporter des solutions dans un délai raisonnable. Listen, he says, let us denounce all those who are instrumentalizing, all those who are behind, pushing the teachers, all those who are behind manipulating the teachers and students to go on strike or to persist in a strike action at the time the government is doing everything to bring results, to bring solution within a reasonable time frame. Folks, I want to interrupt that thing and come back on screen and ask you this question. Just imagine. He says he's denouncing those who are manipulating the teachers. Teachers are intellectuals. Teachers are people who are learned. Teachers who are people who know what they are living through, who know what they are going through. To come and say you are denouncing those who are manipulating teachers, who are instrumentalizing teachers, who are setting up teachers to give hard times to the government is an insult on those teachers. Because you are living in a system where the people are considered to be so myopic, so dull, so stupid that they can't even know that they are living through difficult experiences, that they can't even know that they are being cheated, that they can't even know that they are not getting fair conditions, that they can't even know that they are working for 10 years with no pay, that they can't even know that some of them have been transferred to far distances away from their families with no money at all to enable them to even move into and survive in those places. No, they can't know. They can't recall that they are living through all of those. It requires someone, some hidden hand somewhere that hates Paul Biya and his regime to do that. Look at the difference in thought. This is what we are fighting for. This is the kind of thing we are fighting for. Fighting to get a society where people are looked at and treated like humans, and treated with respect, and treated with dignity. We saw our lawyers, common law lawyers, clad in their robes and their beautiful wigs, being beaten by policemen, trampled in mud, simply because they raised their voice to complain about things that were not going right. I just took the contrast here of the US president going to join striking workers on the picket line. First time ever in the United States, but it happened today. But back there, you have a demigod who will not even come out and talk when tens of thousands of his people die in horrible conditions. But he's quick to send aid to developed countries that don't need it when they have situations even less worse than the ones that happen around his nostrils. Reason? Because he needs them to keep him where he is. That is what we are running away from. That is what we are fighting against. We didn't have in the first place to ever find ourselves with these people. And therefore, because the never again generation has risen, it is our singular duty, all of us, to join hands to see that we get these people out of our territories, take back our lives, restore our dignity, restore our sovereignty, take back our ability to develop, to determine our own development priorities. Let's get back there and see the word of insults. And he says the government is working to bring solutions within a reasonable time frame. Do you recall the last time that teachers started striking in Cameroon for better conditions of pay? In 2021, teachers started something, across the territory of La République du Cameroun, complaining about working for several years without pay. not having their transfer allowances, not having their family allowances, not having their what they call appointment or duty post allowances, and all of those things. In 2002, it transformed to something called le mouvement OTS, that's on a trop souffert. We have suffered more than enough. And the government kept what this the government still calls this reasonable time frame, but they gave the time frame to resolve this last year. And that government sees that the reason they are rising is because somebody is manipulating them. And he continues. Comme les enseignants ont supporté des années durant, ne peuvent-ils pas accepter de supporter encore quelques semaines seulement pour le paiement de leurs droits et reprendre sans délai le chemin de l'école? You hear what he says? That they have already suffered for so many years. Why don't they just continue bearing it? Come on. Mr. Gregoire Warner doesn't see why the teachers who are used to suffering should not just continue suffering. That is why they don't understand why us in Ambazonia, in the southern Cameroons, say we cannot continue to be with them. We cannot continue to accept to be treated as subhumans. We cannot accept to continue to be treated as third-class citizens. We cannot accept to continue to be treated as eternal assistants. No, they can't understand. Because as far as they are concerned, we're just supposed to just continue burying it because we have borne it for 60 years. That's the message he's giving to those teachers. You have borne it for all these years. Just continue. Why are you so hot in it? Just continue. The government will pay. Oh, yes. This is what we are running away from. Running away from a system that does not recognize humanity. Running away from a system that does not imagine at any given point that the people of the land deserve better conditions, that the people of the land can complain, can see for themselves that things are not working. This is exactly what we are running away from. I want to go to the second point. And this second point has to do with, some people living in, insolent opulence. Insolent opulence, while the masses are in total desolation. While the teachers are there complaining to be paid just their salaries, their dues. While doctors are complaining to be paid just their dues. And so passing the entrance into queues or into the Faculty of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences of the University of Bamenda or Boya no longer guarantees direct entry into the public service as a medical doctor upon graduation. Whereas to get into those schools, you have to pay, your family has to struggle to cough up 5 million, 10 million CFA, so that after 7 years, they tell you to go take another public exam to be given a job. In a country where the doctor to patient ratio is the worst across the world. One medical doctor to at least 30 to 40,000 people. One medical doctor to at least 30 to 40,000 people, if not more. Yet, they are unable to train and hire medical doctors directly. And medical doctors come and earn peanut salaries. Why? You see here, these are the benefits of people who are in their parliament. If you are a secretary in parliament, this is what they say, as soon as you are elected into parliament, as soon as you are appointed, because a lot of them are just appointed into that parliament because not even a parliament is a hand-clapping chamber, and you are made a secretary, you have 46 million francs that is given to you to buy a car. Oh yes, 46 million. If you are a questor, 50 million. If you are a vice president, 55 million. If you are a first vice president, 16 million. And the president of the National Assembly gets 70 million. Please don't make a mistake. Don't think that because you were already in at the last legislature and you benefited of this money means that in the new legislature you will not have it. Zero fault. As soon as you are coming back in, you get this for the 5 years, for the first 5 years. When those 5 years are exhausted, if you come in, if you are reappointed by Mr. Paul Biya and the other, and you come in for another 5 years, for those next 5 years, you still get another 70 million. So if you have done 10 mandates, guess how much you have had? 700 million. That's what it is. Yep. 70 times 10, that's 700 million. And there are people that like Kavayege Jibril, who's been there for about 50 years. Almost 50 years. That's been in that parliament. So, if at all, this is what they call prime d'installation. That is money to enable you to settle down and all of those things. Of course, they'll give 13 million CFA francs to all the members of this bureau to get it. And this aside of the 45, of the 50, of the whatever. And then they will give you money to maintain that car that they gave you tens of millions to buy. They'll give you money to maintain that brand new car. Secretaries, 20 million to maintain the car. Questors, 28 million. Vice presidents, I see 21 million. First vice president, 30 million. President, 40 million. And then you are going on leave. You're taking a vacation. Oh, come on. The assembly again gives you money. Secretary, 20 million. Questors, 28 million. Vice president, 30 million. First vice president, 35 million. And president, 40 million. Now, when they are cutting all this money, people have gone to school, spent years. They come out as teachers. They come out as medical doctors. They come out, in fact, in virtually all the professions, with the exception of a few. And they cannot have just their dues. No, they can't have them. Business people have invested their hard-earned money, taken contracts to execute one or two things here and there. They even do those businesses, they will not have money to pay them unless they pay huge percentages. But those who are supposed to be fighting for them to have better conditions are living this large. This is what we are fighting against, my people. My people of Ambazonia. This is what we want, why we want to depart from this kind of evil system. Ask yourself, why do they give them all these advantages? So that they should just be clapping anything that comes from the executive branch. That's why there's no parliament in that country. That's why you have never heard that that parliament has passed or even debated a single private member bill. If you know of anyone, tell me. At least I was journalist in that country for 19 years plus. I don't remember, and I covered that assembly several times. I don't remember at any time that at any parliamentary session that said a private member bill had made it to the floor, it was debated until it was passed. None. None. I don't recall any time that a bill had come from the government and they said, no, this one is so torturous for the people. None. That's why these parliamentarians will sit and accept that the price of a fiscal stamp should go from 500 to 1,000 to 1,500. Multiplication by. They don't care. That's why they'll sit and they say that even your money that you are sending by mobile money from one person to the other, money that you have already earned, this is your salary, you put it in your mobile money account. You want to send it perhaps to your wife because you are working in some distant place to take care of your children. You pay taxes again on money you have already earned. And then you already pay taxes over. They will pass those things because they are blinded by these personal advantages. That is the kind of system we don't want to be a part of. Because if you don't recall, I'm bringing these very light things that are just so light down there so you can see them. And then let's depart from that one. You know, Dr. Mfo Susungi, he is from Dongamantu County in Ambazonia. When the SDF party was launched in 1992, I was so vibrant with a lot of intellectuals there within. The SDF came out with an economic and social program known as NESPROC. They call it National Economic and Social Program. They called it NESPROC. Dr. Mfo Susungi was the brain behind that program. In that program, the SDF proposed to construct superhighways, and on those superhighways, build toll gates, place toll gates that the collection from those toll gates will help to, I'm laughing. So the collection from those toll gates will help to offset the cost of of those investments, of the big investments to be made on those roads. Part of the plan was even to factor out some of these roads to the private sector. The people, big investors construct those roads and then place toll gates on those roads and collect for a certain number of years and seek the roads back then to the government or to the community in what they call public-private partnerships. Now, the CBDM people, the crooked government of La République du Cameroon, those people who are brainless, unfortunately, allow me to really call them like that, who are brainless, saw it and said, oh, this is another source of money making we have not seen. Where we can extort money from the people, stash it in banks abroad, park the money in canteens back in our homes. And so what did they do? They decided to go and start placing toll gates on already existing and dilapidated roads. But now they have even beaten the records by being the first country in the world to construct toll gates where there are even no roads yet. Let's construct the toll gates first before they start couching a plan to construct the roads. That's Cameroon. The first country, look at ultra modern toll gate and all, no road yet. Where does that happen? What would the people be paying for? Listen, folks, even with the serious fighting in Ambazonia, I will assure you that the roads of La République du Cameroon claim almost more lives that can be claimed any day in any war anywhere in the world. If you look at the statistics, because in 2015, when I got to the United States of America to accept my international award, a global award from the International Center for Journalists, the ICFJ, and we stopped at ProPublica, and we asked this question. The six of us were six journalists from around the world. We asked this question: what is the major cause of accidents in your country? And when they got to me, at that time, I was saying Cameroon. That was 2015, and I was like, "Look at." They said no. From statistics, they branded it. It was roads. And roads in that country, according to the statistics that were presented, claim almost 6,000 lives a year. Almost 6,000 lives every year. That was in 2015. When the roads were not as horrible as they are now. I'm sure the statistics of just last year, of no, even this year, just where we are now, with the number of people who have died in road accidents in that country, you should already be at least 5 to 6 or even 7,000. My people of Ambazonia, this is what we are running away from. Running away from a system with misguided priorities. Running away from a system designed to claim lives, designed to destroy and not to promote the communities. Designed to frustrate and not to prop up the masses. Designed to extort and not to bring better living or good living conditions for the people. This is the kind of thing we are running away from. In a free and independent Ambazonia, every county will have the opportunity to determine their own development priorities, determine where they want to begin with, and what will help to facilitate the overall development of the community. You hear us already talk about Federal Republic of Ambazonia. That means that once we are able to send La République du Cameroon out of our country, we are going to practice federation. We are going to be in a federal system. And that federal system, like the one that's operational in the United States of America, like the one that's operational in Canada, it will be better than the one that's operational in Nigeria. Because in Nigeria, yes, they have powers, but still somewhat limited. We want to have a functional federal system where powers are devolved to the people at local level, where the role of the government is mainly facilitation. Facilitation. Not a system where all powers are vested in the hands of one man that becomes a demigod. That even when the people are dying in droves and in huge numbers, they can't talk. No. We want to build a system that will not produce strong men or strong women, but that will produce strong and functional democratic institutions. That is what we are fighting for. That's the kind of society we want to have. That is why we are taking away the blockers, because La République du Cameroon is the main blocker for us attaining that goal. When you are playing the role of black leg, think about this. Think about what I'm discussing here. Look at that toll gate. Beautiful toll gate, but no road. No road, folks. Now, I want to show you something. If I talk, you say, if I just talk, you say, Mr. Mba Akuro or JMA sometimes exaggerates. This area I'm about to show you, I lived around there. I had lived around Rond-Point Express at a place called Superet, BMRC. I lived around Superet. Before I left from there, I went to Simbok, but I lived around Superet. So this place I'm about to show you is a place I saw with my eyes all the time. Whenever I had the occasion to drive to Monte-Jouvence, or whenever I had the occasion to drive to that particular area where they call Carrefour Kaka. And do you know why it's called Carrefour Kaka? Kaka actually means excrement. That is excrement roundabout, or excrement place, or excrement junction. And trust me, folks, 2023, I was forced out of that country in 2017. By the time I left, it was really bad. But now it's worse. BMRC is in the heart of Yaounde. It's not the periphery. No. It's in the heart of Yaounde, the capital of La République du Cameroon. Please, let me warn. If you are eating at this point, stop this video, finish eating, then you can come back and watch, okay? I will allow you at least to be out of this live show just for this moment, if you are eating at this moment, because it's not something that will be pleasant for somebody who's putting food in the mouth. That's why I'm warning you in the first place. Take a watch.
On est obligé de supporter.
Plus loin, au quartier Jouvence, lieu dit Carrefour Kaka, l'air est irrespirable. Depuis des années, cette situation est vécue par les populations qui interpellent une fois de plus les pouvoirs publics.
On ne vit pas, on n'arrive même pas à respirer. Mais on est obligé de supporter. Bon, tout à l'heure que vous étiez mis en train de filmer, la voiture de la commune était en train de passer. Oui, donc la mairie passe de temps en temps. Oui, bon, on va alors faire comment?
Une fois déversées sur la chaussée, ces matières fécales entraînent indubitablement la détérioration de la chaussée. Alors que l'on parle tous les jours d'une vie dans un environnement sain, les pouvoirs publics inertes ignorent complètement le calvaire des populations de ces quartiers. Est-ce finalement une malédiction pour les habitants du quartier Biémassi, à Yaoundé, de subir au quotidien des déjections? Trop c'est trop, a-t-on coutume de dire.
You see, the gentleman being interviewed in that video says something, and that's exactly what has destroyed Francophone Africa. On va faire comment? What can we do? This is the condition. On va faire comment? We just leave it. I see they're standing there. The quality of the air that they're inhaling is horrible. I'm sure you, just by watching the excrement ooze out of those septic tanks from the chambers onto the road. It's the cameraman was even generous. It's the entire area. I'm sure by just watching that, I mean, it's nauseating. So nauseating, terribly nauseating. I'm sure you even start imagining that you are inhaling that horrible air. That is in the capital, in the heart of the capital of La République du Cameroon. This place, they call it Carrefour Kaka, is about 1 minute and 30 seconds from Rond-Point Express in BMRC, not far from Marché Acacia. But even at Marché Acacia, you still have this kind of stench. Just when you descend towards Marché Acacia, going towards Lycée BMRC, you still have this kind of septic tank oozing there from the chamber on the road. But this one became known as Carrefour Kaka because it's been there forever. I heard what the guy who's being interviewed says, because I was speaking in French, that's what I'm interpreting in English. He says that, because I got asked, but are the public authorities aware? And the guy says, but we stand here, we are selling here. And too often, the council vehicle passes here too, crosses on these stinking waters. So they are aware. What do we do? My people, this is what we are running away from. Nothing will happen there. They are waiting for the decision to come from Paul Biya's table, because the mayor will say, I have forwarded to the Ministry of Urban Affairs, of Urban Development and Housing. The Minister of Urban Development and Housing will say, I have forwarded to the head of state, and ask the head of state in his magnanimity to approve. And the head of state is not present always absent. And so it may take that head of state 20 years to ever come to realize that it had been reported to his office that there was a situation like that at Acacia. That is not how we intend to run our community. The way we intend to run our community is such that the people around there, that's how it is here in the United States of America. In my city here, in my neighborhood where I am here, we have an organization that will take care of such situations immediately. Nobody will be waiting for somebody to come from somewhere. No. And if nothing is done, the representative of the house that is in this community will not have water to drink until the issue is resolved. The senators from this state, and particularly the one who will be in charge of this area, will not have breathing space. The local elected representatives at the county level will not have breathing space. My people of Ambazonia, this is the beauty of what we are looking for. This is the beauty of what we are fighting for. You just see there, the stench is horrible. Really horrible. Kafukaka. So, even inside all of this, our children still face very horrible conditions, to the effect that thousands upon thousands of them are in the deserts, struggling to get through the seas, to get to Lampedusa and get into Western Europe for a better life. Others are in the jungle, getting through Latin America to Mexico to find their way into America for a better life. Others are fighting in all kinds of ways to find themselves in South Africa, in Dubai, in place, and end up being treated as slaves again, end up being given the worst kind of treatment because we don't have homeland. We're fighting because we need homeland. Home is home. It's only in your home that you will have the best treatment ever. It's only in your home where you say, this is my own place, where you can look at people and know each person, even know who their parents and grandparents were. You have that better land. Because wherever we are, conditions could be good. We could be breathing good air. We could be having good jobs. We could be having all kinds of advantages. But trust me, there is still that element of, you know, you don't really belong, right? I want to play something here. It's not from our noisy neighbors, not from us, but just to show us an example of what we want our children to grow up and experience. Our children should have a home where they are proud to run back to when they feel that they are not being treated properly somewhere else. Where can I go to? Do I have a home right now? Right now, I'm a citizen of the world. And therefore, anything can happen to me anywhere. I don't have where I can run to. I only have my eyes to cry. And I'm sure thousands upon thousands of Ambazonians, of Southern Cameroonians, are in my same position. That is why in this liberation movement, it is a do or die. Failure is not an option. Just watch this.
Ireland refuses to acknowledge little black girl with her medal.
see the inscription there. They say, being black is dope. Fight for justice. That is in Ireland, that's the country Ireland, that they say refuses to acknowledge a little black girl with her medal. You see, they have distributed recognitions, medals to all the other children. They skip over that little black girl. See how she's standing there in the middle, miserable, frustrated, confused, dehumanized, shocked, embarrassed. I lack words to describe what is going on in the mind of this little girl at that age. Does she deserve this? That's the most brutal reminder of the fact that home is home. The most brutal reminder of the fact that when we are removed from our roots, we represent nothing. That's why it's written there, being black is dope. Dope because they will treat us this way because they know that we have nowhere to run to. They will treat us this way because they know that where we come from will even face worse. My people, you will ask yourself, but why is he showing us videos that we're already seen everywhere on social media, on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter? No, I'm bringing it to explain so you see why we are fighting, to put it in context, so you understand why you should be part of this fight. That's not your child, but it could be your child. It may not be your child today. It could be your child tomorrow. Facing this kind of conditions. Just imagine how traumatized this child will be. How humiliated, frustrated, shocked this child will be. That's a fate before our child. Don't feel too comfortable in another man's land where you have not secured your own land. Even if you don't plan to go back there, let us take homeland. Make it an El Dorado. So that when they are about to point fingers in our mouth, they know that we have a choice. But right now, they know we have no choice. Yeah, they know we have no choice. We either take it or we leave it. My people of Ambazonia, it burns my heart. It shocks my spirit that some among us still sit and cooperate with those who are dehumanizing us, who are humiliating us, who are destroying us seriously in the name of some little peanuts that you take, in the name of some cynical positions, in the name of bread and sardine. It is shameful. I've seen a lot of you come here and ask questions. What is the purpose? Why should we be having conferences? Come, let's sit together in Canada. Put our heads together and reason together how to shorten this journey, how to secure our homeland, how to get back our homeland. This is the importance of that meeting, to build synergy. Yes, we need to go there and bring out the power of synergy. My people of Ambazonia, I bleed. I bleed in my heart seriously when I see some people in our community celebrate when their sons and daughters are dying so that their children and their children's children should have a better tomorrow. Do you have a heart? Do you have a conscience? Do you sometimes sit, look at the ceiling, lie, look at the ceiling yours and close your eyes and think? You will not do what you are doing currently. I want to end here. But before I go, let's share what Mr. Tibonagi says. This reflection was since October 8, 2021. When Mr. Tibonagi said, we all know how Southern Cameroon's crisis will end. I don't care the words are used. Anglophones will gain their rights, either in a genuine federation or a breakaway state. Whether weeks, months, years, or decades, it will come. Human spirit, like the lion, is indomitable. Human spirit, like the lion, is indomitable. Let's build synergy and give this indomitable spirit the voice, the strength to dig and weed La République du Cameroon out of our country. He says Cameroon government should come to its senses. No, they will never come to their senses until we do the needful. La République du Cameroon's senses will never come until we do the needful. And that needful is kicking them out of our territory, choking them until they start telling their allies, France, Britain, and the others, please, we want to talk. The only way we do that is through synergy. Let's come together, folks. Folks, let's come together. This is a strong international voice reminding us of the fact that human spirit, like the lions, is indomitable. That is why, even when La République du Cameroon sits and celebrates, look at here. Comrade Arike did not just go. He went along with 2 of their forces, and one was seriously wounded and is battling with his life. They will not talk about those ones. They don't talk about theirs that are going in droves daily. But when they take out one of ours, come and see the celebration. Do you know how much it takes La République du Cameroon to train one element of the D? It's millions. But you come and see how they celebrate, taking out people who do not have any formal training, but who are able to give them all kinds of headache. We're able to give them a run for all their armory and for all their money and for all their energy. We should be proud of our freedom fighters. We should be proud of our self-defense volunteers. We should be proud to support them on a daily basis because they are fighting for our freedom. I have the habit of saying here, don't forget that the tax they are putting on them were the same tax that were put on Nelson Mandela. Today, Nelson Mandela is venerated all over the world as one of the greatest humans that lived. Let us be deliberate. Let us be deliberate in our actions and the things that we do to push this liberation movement forward. My people of Ambazonia, let us continue to stand for what we believe in. Let us continue to stand for what we believe in. This is my message to all and sundry this day. To God be the glory.